Good morning. How are we all doing out there? I hope our Wednesday's got a little more energy than our Tuesday did. Who wants to share something? Who's got something good going? Linda.
Well, we have fabulous things going and we're super excited. We had two new listings that we put on the market on Friday, one in Naperville and one in down here in Florida. And the home in Naperville, $700,000 home, got two excellent offers. So we are under contract as of yesterday, which is fabulous. And our home in Nokomis is a $1.2 million home. And we had 8 parties come through our open home, and we were over the moon because it has been quiet down here and they were serious buyers. So super, super exciting stuff. And that home in Nokomis, I have to do a little shout out to Jeffrey. He pursued this. It was a for sale by owner that had previously expired, and he won the listing, and the man is loving what we're doing and said, oh, well, if you get this one sold, I have another one and I have friends and all this other stuff. So it just goes to show that persistence is, and just staying in communication is the way to go.
I love it. I love it. All the conversion happens in conversation. Keep these conversations going. Be talking, be texting, be emailing, be DMing. Awesome stuff. Lauren.
I didn't actually have anything. That was an accidental hand raise, but
Oh,
it's been a good morning so far.
Hey, that's left over from yesterday, Lauren.
It's
It just
still,
kept.
yeah, still
it was-
there.
Anybody else before I hit some headlines? All right, Linda. Well, thanks for kicking us off. Quick look at the headlines. A couple of articles that stood out. Redfin published something. They obviously have some really good data around showings and stuff like that. And they did have a 2% increase in showings. So a little bit more activity going on. 2% doesn't sound like a lot, but when you average that out and take it on a year over year, month over month basis, it's a good amount of extra business. Median home sale price they have at $380,000, up from 5.5 from last year, up 5.5% from last year. You got about 10% more active listings on the market. Obviously, market by market going to be a little bit different. And new listings have actually decreased, down about 2.5%, according to this article. So the other interesting one that got my attention was Mortgage Broker Association put something out yesterday. Actually, might have even been early this morning. That mortgage applications were up 33% over the last week. So that's like, they do this every week. Obviously, that first week after New Year's saw a little bit of spike, people getting going, but 33%. So the buyers, I think, they're kind of just equating it to buyers going, hey, there's a little bit more inventory. I'm not absolutely competing. We kind of talked about this, and hey, I think this is where rates are going to be. So maybe it's time to get off the fence and go. So I just hope, if you're on this call, that you are taking action. Market's starting to pick up, buyers are showing. One of these articles, I don't remember which one, also just kind of commented, and I think we talked about this yesterday, that they're being a little bit pickier, right? So we're going to go look at some houses, but I don't know that we're going to just buy one, because I don't know that we got to act quite as quick. So those are the news headlines from the day. What do you guys got going on in your deals? Anybody have something, a win, a learning opportunity for a share with the group? Do you have anything on that front? We had a good session number 1 in what I am calling the complete agent handbook. And in my warped mind, I think about when you get into the real estate business, how a lot of agents say, oh yeah, there's no playbook, there's no manual. It's just kind of, here you go, here's your business cards, and you're off and going. And it's kind of crazy. that there's not a good manual. So I am on a mission to kind of put that manual together. I got about 20 different modules kind of bonking around in my head. So we did number one yesterday, which was database building and nurturing. And the nurturing kind of goes to the Linda thing, right? Like we've got to have a plan in place to stay in touch with these people. So it was a good session. I will be getting an email out so you guys can get a copy of that and give me some feedback. And we're going to keep it as a working document. I think it's going to end up and live in Google Drive, and you guys will be able to literally edit it and comment it and, hey, there's a better website or here's a better resource or whatever the case might be, to rock and roll there. So if you have any questions, Linda, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not a question about your training yesterday, and we're so sorry that we missed it. We really, really wanted to be there for it. This is something unrelated.
Okay, hit it.
Okay, so to me, this is just such a beautiful little story that I wanted to share. Jeff and I want to do a broker open at this $1.2 million home and invite, all of the brokers who've sold high-end homes in the last year to, make them aware of this property, et cetera, et cetera. And we're really going to kind of, pimp it up and make it a very, very elegant affair as best we can to entice, people to come and all of that good stuff. And we thought it would be really, really lovely if we could have a musician or a couple of musicians, playing strings in the background, something like that. And we called there's a college close by that has a music program, and left a message saying, hey, if any of your students would be available, we'd love to, work with them and have them come, and of course we'll pay them, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. And so far we didn't hear back. And we, the other night, had to make a run to the CVS at the local strip mall. And in the strip mall, we get out of the car and I'm hearing this absolutely gorgeous violin music. And I look way down at the end of the parking lot, and there's a gentleman out there who's playing. And it turns out that he's hard up on life, and he's got his little daughter who's sitting in a chair doing her coloring book while her dad is playing the violin. And we went over and we said, it would be our great honor if you would come. We will pay you handsomely to come and play for this event. And to me, that's just like such an amazingly beautiful, that's like God just reached down and put us together. And it's a mutual blessing, and just so lovely that I had to share it.
Oh, what a great share. That is exactly the type of stuff that we love hearing on this call. And, just being out in the community and just thinking about real estate, talking about real estate, and stuff kind of manifests. So I love it. Good share. Anybody else have something going on that they want to share with the group? Steve.
So I just have a question for the group. So I'm sure this has happened to many of you before. So I have a showing scheduled for tomorrow at 2:30, and then last night I get a Zillow lead for the same exact property, which is right before, which is convenient for me. So I'll have back-to-back showings. So my question is, what if both of my buyers want to submit offers? How do I navigate that and, maintain my loyalty to both without, favoring one over the other? How do you handle that with two buyers, same property?
Linda, go ahead.
Well, first, there is a form called Notice of Contemporaneous Offers, and that would be something that you would have to disclose to each of your buyers, and you let them know exactly what is happening. You have them sign off saying, if you still want me to represent you in submitting this offer, I'm so happy to do so, and it would be, you would treat them just the way you would if you were working both sides of a transaction. You do not disclose any information. Your fiduciary confidentiality is top tier, and you're working with each of them as if the other doesn't exist. and asking them, you show them the comps, what are you comfortable with? How do you want to present your offer? And you're being very, very transparent in letting them know that you're doing the same thing with the other offeror, but you are treating them as if, the other buyer really is not a part of the equation. And then you also thereby give them the option that if they are not comfortable with you representing both of them, then you can perhaps ask one of your colleagues to represent them and ask for a referral fee.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of different ways to handle this, Steve. There's no, hey, this is how you do it, right? So there's a lot of different good little nuggets in there. Lauren, what did you want to add?
I was just going to add that in Massachusetts, I don't believe we have a required form that has to be given to both parties. But I do always like disclosing it. And I think probably another way Steve was about to get into explaining that you can do it is if you have a relationship built with them and they're not comfortable or you're not comfortable that you won't be able to fully represent both of them while writing the offer, you have the opportunity for somebody to just do the actual offer process and then continue with them afterwards as well. But Linda, really great information as well.
Yeah, you can do the referral fee. You can, you could get everybody, leveled up right up to the point where they're about to write the offer. And then just as far as the actual price and final terms, maybe have another agent in the office, just kind of meet with them and say, hey, look, just to keep it completely separate. And, maybe it's a small referral fee. Maybe you're just literally doing it as somebody in the office that you've got a good relationship with. And if it happens to them, you'll do the same thing down the road. And it's just for the number. Right? You come up with the number and then, hey, I still presented, I still negotiated, or, so it's a comfort level. I think you're going to find when you get into these situations, you're going to have different relationships with different clients. Some are going to be okay with this. Some are not going to be okay with this. So you really just got to feel out each, scenario. You're going to have really good relationships with some agents that you might feel comfortable having them help you with, right? Or, depending on the market that it's in, maybe there's an agent that you're comfortable with in certain markets or certain types of property or certain types of clients, right? So just feel it out, Steve, and then ask for help if it's not feeling right. Martin.
So my question is, I'm kind of about to be in this situation anyway, so I'm glad this came up. I'm there. Two clients are putting an offer, but they're so far apart where I know one client doesn't even have a shot in the dark because they're listening to their parents about a house 20 years ago. And, foreclosures, you could get, 40, 50 grand less, and they're still thinking that and listening to their parents. I know they don't have a shot in the dark where this other offer is in line. They should get it. So question is I guess that's my question. Do you really need to do all that if you know they're not going to?
Exactly, right? Like this is that type of a scenario where you go, you know what? But you've got to disclose. Like Linda said, I don't know if any states, I don't believe in any of the states that we're operating in right now, Mass, Connecticut, Rhode Island, or Florida, have a required form. It's just a recommendation, right? At a minimum, they get a text message, they get an email, something in writing that says, hey, just so you know, I'm working with another buyer on this same property, right? And then that, and that would probably it'd be a conversation first and then a follow-up text, hey, as per our conversation, just, letting you know that I am representing another buyer on this one. So, Jen.
I was going to say, I feel like if you know that they don't have a shot, I think I would focus more on, telling them about the market, showing them some comps, and then asking them ultimately if they don't want to change their mind on the price, are you okay with losing this property? Because I just to show that you know what you're talking about. And then if they want to change their price, great. And see if maybe you could work with them to make it to where it needs to be. And in that case, I guess, well, if that becomes serious, I would tell them about, I don't know. I'm just thinking if they don't have a shot, I feel like it's important to kind of help them through this one so that they listen to you in the future. So you're not working with them in 2 years, you know what I mean? Because they're still listening to mom and dad, but, are you okay with losing it? Yeah, we're not going to lose it. Okay, well, I'm, letting you know this is not where it needs to be. And then if they lose it, then they'll listen to you.
Which I did have that conversation. They're okay with it, but like I said, dad, I guess, was a realtor 20 years ago. You know, still, which I get. Parents want to protect their kids. I have no problems with that. They did go up a little bit, but it's where they feel comfortable too as a number as well. So I'm keeping that in mind as well.
Yeah, I think you just want to disclose as early as possible. You know, once they're thinking about writing an offer, if people are just looking at the property, it's once they start thinking about writing the offer, that's when I think you really got to get serious about, hey, you know, they need to understand what's going on here. Anybody else want to chime in on two buyers at the same time? Cool. What else we got? What's floating around in your heads? What have we learned recently? What do we want to share? Where are we stuck? I wanted to, if nobody's got anything, I can hit on a couple of other inspection things that I've just had written down when we're talking about the specialized inspections and what to watch out for and how to potentially save some deals. One of the, it's not really an inspection, but it's something that can come up on a deal with regards to flood zones. And I've had this happen a couple of different times, and both of these times we were able to get a property out of a flood zone using what's called an elevation certificate, right? So we randomly had properties that were, you know, close to water, identified as flood zone issues. And what happens with these properties is the insurance rates are going to go up, right? So if we can do in the flood zones, they're pretty generic. Right? I don't know how generic they are, but it could be, you know, a whole section of a town is under one flood zone and another section of another town is another one, or even down to little neighborhoods, right? All based on some elevation stuff. But your particular property could be actually up. So you can have your particular property basically surveyed. I don't know exactly how they go about it, but you can get an elevation certificate and go back to the insurance company and say, hey, see, look, this is not in a flood zone. I don't want to pay those extra premiums. So I just want to kind of throw that one out there. And as we're throwing these things out, maybe somebody could say, hey, I did a deal regarding this, and this is what happened on it. Does anybody have any color to add around elevation certificate or flood zone stuff? The other thing that comes to mind on these is some of the insurance policies can actually transfer. The flood insurance can transfer from, so if there's a policy there now that's reasonable and the new policy is unreasonable, you might be able to get that policy to transfer to the new homeowner. So that was another way that we've gotten around a deal that, oh my God, the flood insurance is going to be X or Y or Z. It's kind of outrageous. Any other thoughts around that stuff? Next one I wanted to throw out there was well inspection. Oh, Margareta, what do you got?
Morning. I actually have a question on a different subject. Can I?
Yeah, hit it.
I have an opportunity for it appears to be about $1 million listing in this area in Mass here. And I've done like 600-700, but never over like a mil. So just curious, as Linda was talking about, they do a lot of high-end properties. How do you go around this? Like, what's difference listing that type of property?
I mean, the first things that come to mind for me are the amount that you're going to spend on your media, right? So higher end photo, higher end video, higher end drone work, and more of that stuff. So that's the first thing. You maybe are going to do some extra stuff when it comes to, like, she's doing a broker's open, right? So we're calling some of those more luxury agents if it's luxury for that market, right? I mean, depending on the market, $1 million might be an average price point in that market. But if it's truly luxury, maybe you're going to do a little broker's open, a luncheon, something. At a minimum, you're going to call the agents that tend to sell high end in that market. So that's going to be a little bit different. The exposure should be a little bit different, right? And those clients can often want a little bit of additional exposure. So there's a couple of different platforms out there that allow you to get into some of these additional magazines, whether it's the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times or whatever, some international stuff. The company that we kind of have used on the regular is called Lux VT, LUXVT. And they're going to get you actually a nice packet if you'd like. I think it's like, I don't know, a couple $100, maybe even less than that, to get a presentation that you can use at the listing appointment specific to that property. So, hey, here's some of the things that I'm going to do for you above and beyond what I normally do. And then maybe you get the listing and now it's an extra 500 or 700 or whatever their packages are that you're going to use to promote that listing. So those are a couple of things that come to mind for me initially. Who else wants to chime in?
Another thing to this listing is it's on the golf course. Any thoughts about that? What to do with that?
So, first thing that comes to mind for golf course is a lot of times those clubs have some sort of an internal messaging board or something that, hey, a property's coming up on the course. Sometimes those things can be pretty desirable, depending on the amount of houses that are sitting on that course and the community that course has developed, right? Some courses it's a public course and there's houses on it, but it's not really a thing. Others are, it's pretty bougie and this is a big deal that you've got a house on a course, right? So promoting inside that community itself. Stacy.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, great. I did have one last year on a golf course and I had to get permission because I put a sign. The back of the house was on the golf course. I needed permission from the country club to put a sign facing the golfers. So I did end up calling it was like a country club golf course. So I would definitely call them, let them know. They might even have a member that wants to buy the house. So signs on all sides of the house.
Yeah, that's a great little nugget there. I have seen that, back in my playing days. You'd randomly see a sign on the golf course side. I'm sure some clubs just absolutely won't allow it, but some clubs clearly do. So, you're going to get a lot of eyeballs of everybody that's walking by that property. So, great suggestion, Stacy.
Thank you. What about pricing strategy? Because it's like on that edge where it could be over $1 million or could be under. And I feel like, golf course, how much does that really add the value to that price point? Any thoughts on the pricing strategy?
Again, I think it comes down to the course itself. Some of them are going to provide, there's something to it, right? There's a prestige to being on the course for this particular golf course, and some of them it's not as big of a deal. So I would obviously try and see if there's been any other sales of properties on that course, and then just compare. Hey, that same house in the same town was 10% lower, right? So I don't think you can just say, hey, it's 5% more for a property that's on a course, right? It's all going to depend where on the course is it? What kind of frontage does it have? What are the views like? So, Lauren.
So two thoughts actually from what Margaretta said. First one regarding the additional value for that feature, right? That additional value is only there if the buyers coming in value that feature. And I think this happens with not just a golf course, right? This could be a pool. This could be a unique feature in the house that, maybe the seller or some potential people could see that additional value in. But when you're looking at the masses, right, most people don't have that value. So that can be an additional conversation that has to happen with the sellers, especially if it's something that they keep mentioning. But the golf course, to you, yes, this is important, and to a specific buyer, but maybe to the general masses, it might not be something that really adds that much value. So being careful trying to put too much value on a specific feature. And then second thing I got from that is the signage, right? So we had mentioned a sign facing the golf course. So in this situation, I've seen that with like waterfront properties as well. So if you're on like a recreational piece of water, signage that faces, the water side as well as the street side can definitely be a benefit for catching additional attention.
Awesome. Thank you. Linda.
Margareta, it's really important just to check in with the management company for this community to find out what their rules and regulations are regarding signage. Some of them are going to actually have they're going to really limit what you can do. So we want to talk to somebody in the management company and find out very clearly what you are allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. And if you can get your hands on a copy of the rules and regulations, the declarations, all of the community documents, that would be an awesome thing for you to have, because there might be restrictions on what people can do with respect to parking, what with pets. So you want to have all that, and you want to be able to post those in your additional information in your MLS and have those for potential buyers so that they can look at those, so that they can, also make an informed decision on the property. And with respect to value of the golf course, if you look at the comps of what has recently sold, that'll kind of be woven into it. That the value will be, your comps will tell you what the value, what people are feeling the value of being on that golf course is, based on what has recently sold that's comparable to your property. And also, but it is very important to know where it is relative to that physical golf course, because that can make a difference, of course.
I'm not a golfer. I think it's like actually on a 7th hole or something.
Yeah. So some people are going to absolutely love that. And, yeah, but look, again, your comps will be I think will be very telling.
Because there's not that many houses sold. And I would imagine you don't want to compare this golf course to a different golf course, because they're just different animals, like different cities. You don't do
Yes.
that. Yeah.
For
No,
sure.
thank you so much, and Linda, and I appreciate that, because there isn't like an HOA kind of situation because it's gated community technically. So.
Yeah, and and every community can make their own rules and regulations. So yes, you want to be able to put all the signage up and let people know, but we've run into situations here where you're not allowed to even put out a sign for an open home in some communities. So just be very mindful of that, because you want to be aware of that, straight off the bat, so you can even have that conversation with the sellers, because that can make a difference in how you're going to promote the home within the community.
My other thing is staging it, because I don't like what they have. They're kind of not high-end looking furniture, unfortunately. They have little kids. So it's baby galore. So your opinion, because you do more high-end, would you suggest nothing in the house, very few things in the house, versus like stage it with extra furniture?
I would.
From a stager.
Yeah, I would absolutely recommend that you have them remove their not so pleasant stuff and have it properly staged so that they can get top dollar. 100%. And we have a private conversation about that for sure. But this home that we have right now, the $1.2 million one, we absolutely told the gentleman, it has 12-foot ceilings. It's all on one level. It's almost 3,000 square feet. And when you walked in, it's so beautiful. And you felt like you were in an empty warehouse. You couldn't even sort of try to figure out how you would decorate it. And so we said, for this level of home to move it, you have got to have it staged. And he had it professionally staged, and it's absolutely stunning. And I know that's what drove all the people to come and see it. And one of the neighbors came by and she said, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing. He was trying to sell it before." And you walk in and you just couldn't even wrap your brain around what to do with all this space. And now it all makes sense, and it all looks so beautiful. And people were just raving about how gorgeous it looked.
Do you pay for the staging, or does the seller
We do not, but when we do soft staging for homes where we just do some decorative things for, like throws and pillows and, things like that, we do that ourselves. But when it's where they have to come in and bring furniture, that is absolutely has got to be something that the seller believes is an excellent investment.
Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. Will you be calling?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Just adding a little bit of color in there, all great little nuggets. I would have more conversations around all of this stuff, Margareta. I've run into a few situations where I was forceful on my ideas, because what Linda's saying is absolutely right. They are going to get more money for that house if they stage it. And I know I've lost opportunities because I was saying, hey, you got to do all of these things. And, when I asked for feedback on why I didn't get it, the reason was, well, this other person said we could just bring it to market like this. And, we know we're going to leave a little money on the table, but everything that you wanted us to do, man, that sounded like a lot of work. Right? So have conversations around this. Hey, we can do it this way. We can do it this way. We can do it this way. Whatever you want to do, just understand if we do it this way, you're probably going to get less. If we do it this way, you're probably going to get more. Right. And with regards to the staging, I've also seen agents, they can include the staging, like you're going to pay for it, but now my fee is going to go up, right? Because I'm taking a risk here. So all of this stuff, you can have different flavors of how you deliver it, and you just got to feel it out based on each scenario. Right? If you're hearing them say, hey, look, we'd love to stage this. We know it's going to get us more money, and it's going to get more money. And you also know they've got to sell this thing, spend a couple of $1,000s and stage it and turn it around into $10,000 more in commission. Right? So feel out the situation, understand timelines, understand the whys, and then make an educated decision for yourself. If you know, hey, you know what, staging this is going to be a big deal, but they're, for whatever reason, they're not willing to spend the money. Right. And then you can maybe build something in. You told me you guys were going to sell this in 6 months. I'm willing to pay for this up front. This is going to be my commission. If you guys decide to cancel, or you don't do the price reductions that we talked about, then I get my staging money back or something like that. Right. So you can get creative that way as well. Linda.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just doubling down on what you were saying. We always present this as a strategy, just like with a pricing strategy, you offer the 3 different, pricing strategies. We do this as well with staging. So we don't go in and say, you need to do this and you need to, we would never treat people like that. But, we get very enthusiastic when we share how fabulous the results are with staging. And, and we say, and then of course, if this is not something that you want to do, although that we believe that this is in your best interest to make this investment and handle it this way, then here's another option. So yeah, we would never just go in and say forcefully, you need to do this. We always offer like a couple of options, but we also let them know percentage wise where we think we have to, or where we think we'd have to list, in all honesty, if you're going to present it vacant, unless you're prepared to kind of sit on it for quite a while. So it kind of, you know what I mean? So it goes right along with your pricing strategy.
One of the things that I found can help if you are struggling to get, if somebody's struggling to understand the value of staging, is to show similar properties, one staged and one not. Right. And so you can hopefully work with your media company to get photos like that they might be willing to share. I don't know what kind of releases they might need, but I used to have, you might even be able to pull something off of the internet at this point that would just kind of demonstrate, hey, this is what it looks like stage, and this is what it looks like doesn't. Maybe there's some AI stuff that you could do there to just show it to them. But a lot of times I don't think they can necessarily understand or appreciate the difference that it's going to make. But man, you look at a photo of a property that's staged, right? And that's the conversation that I'm having with the seller. Right. Our goal is we've got window shoppers looking on their computer. We got to get them interested in enough based on our marketing, the way that this thing looks, and our pricing, that they take the time to come and see it in person. If we don't get them here in person, we can never make a sale. Very rare that you're selling houses without them stepping foot. So that's our job, Mr. Seller. We've got to get them off of the computer screen and here to the home. And I think this is one of the ways that we can do that. Awesome. I will just quickly do a share. Training available today. You got the investor agent playbook. You've got the video lab, real conversions, another investing thing, invest like a Titan, niche domination. Maybe there's something in here regarding some luxury stuff. I think that is it. So 5 different trainings available today. As always, if you take something, say something. Appreciate you guys. Go have yourselves an awesome Wednesday, and we'll do it again tomorrow morning. Take care.
Thank you.